welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, we've had a couple of shows right in a row on schools.
Yes, we have.
On students. COVID has created a situation where we don't have as many events
No,
in 2020,
we don't have very much anything going on this year.
but we've had an opportunity, though, to focus on businesses, retail, restaurants, how people in business and how people in the schools are pivoting and accommodating what learning is like in 2020. We had Helena Wallen-Miller on just a couple of weeks ago, and last week we had the principal of Aberdeen Elementary and the Teacher of the Year 2019, Mariah Morris, on
Yes.
talking about the Restart Initiative.
Yes, that was a very interesting show.
The focus on schools is not a coincidence because in Moore County, with our changing demographics, it's the number one topic on families' minds who are moving into Moore County. Schools,
I believe it.
schools, and more schools.
I believe it.
And they want the best for their children. And one of the reasons that Moore County has become such a popular destination is the lifestyle, the school environment. It's not just golf. It's not just resort living anymore.
No.
And back in June, we had an opportunity to speak with the head of school of the Moore Montessori School, Catherine Rucker, and board member Taylor Clement. For those of you who know Southern Pines, if you focus yourself on May Street and the original Pinecrest High School, which became the Southern Pines Elementary School, there's been a move underway, and it's been chronicled in the local paper, about the Moore Montessori School trying to acquire that 11-acre parcel, and I did not realize it was 11 acres.
Wow.
That school is one of the iconic spots in downtown Southern Pines, and for those who know the area well, they don't want to change the culture of the town, the ability to walk to school, and not to have it turned over to developers. We have plenty of developments, and we don't want to lose the charm of Southern Pines. And for someone who's lived here for 21 years, and Catherine, who is a neighbor of mine, she gets it. She understands what the nature of the town is, as does Taylor. Taylor, you live right in downtown Southern Pines.
On Broad Street, yeah.
The three of us are all a healthy walk from one another. So the culture of Southern Pines is an easy thing to defend. Catherine, there are people, we have in our real estate business, we have people all the time asking us questions about schools and test scores and what's best for our kids. And the Moore Montessori School is a very unusual setup in a small town like this. People don't realize, and I'd love you to talk a little bit of background about the Montessori School, why it's so rare, it's such a gift in the community, and what you're trying to do big picture.
Great. Absolutely. So there are approximately 5,000 Montessori schools in the United States, and only 500 of those are public. The other 4,500 are private. And so of the 500 public Montessori schools in the United States, the vast majority of those are in larger urban areas. So we are really fortunate to have a public Montessori option in a small rural community.
How did it come to pass that Southern Pines was graced with a Montessori school?
Well, I wanted to move back home, and I identified a need in the community to make sure that all children had an opportunity to master reading and writing in a nourishing, exciting environment. And we know that Montessori is an excellent education, and the opportunity arose to provide that in a public charter school setting. And so that's what we did. We brought together community members. We put out a charter application. It was approved, and we've had excellent successes in terms of national grants. We are getting national attention for a lot of the work that we're doing. and we're excited to offer it to children in our community.
Where there is a private Montessori school, what kind of financial commitment is a family looking at for their child compared to the public
Right.
school?
I would say comparable Montessori schools to the training and quality of our teachers and full set of materials.
Yep.
The closest school would be in Raleigh, the Montessori School of Raleigh, and it's upwards of $20,000 a year in tuition.
And talk about your school.
And our school's free.
Okay.
It's a public school.
Math was not my number one subject in school, but those numbers seem pretty good. So what's in it for a parent? Why put their child into a Montessori school versus some of the other options that they have?
That's a great question. So we think it's an exciting environment for student learning, and it develops each child's potential. And Dr. Montessori said, this is a quote, "Our care of the child should be governed not by the desire to make him learn things, but by the endeavor always to keep burning within him that light which is called intelligence." And so the mission and focus of Montessori teachers is to nurture the intelligence and gifts of each child. Our teachers have extensive Montessori training. They have a repertoire of thousands of lessons, extensive work in child development. They know how to teach math and language. What they also know how to do is to give exciting lessons in geometry, geography, biology, science, history, all to young children, because the idea is young children are curious and they want to learn. And so we're offering these sparks of excitement on things that can drive their academic learning.
More Montessori, is it kindergarten through fourth grade or third grade?
At this time, our public program is kindergarten through fourth grade.
Okay.
We're approved up to sixth grade.
Okay.
And so what we have noticed about the children at our school is that they are taking responsibility for their own learning, and the teachers are partners. And that's really exciting to see.
Okay. The math student in me that did not do well in algebra, I didn't. Tell me how you can afford the staff, the facility that you're in right now, the funding. How does that all work?
So 94% of our annual operating budget is on public funds. So we get local funds, state funds, and federal funds, and those are tax dollars. And we were fortunate to be one of 10 schools nationwide to win a competitive federal startup grant.
Wow.
And so that is a 5-year grant that will give us $750,000 to furnish our classrooms, send local teachers to training, professional development, equity work.
Okay. So I get the impression that in the school environment, the students get a lot of individual attention and a lot of freedom, a lot of latitude.
Yes. And all the materials are hands-on. So they learn by doing, they learn by repeating.
Do the teachers get a nervous breakdown?
No, they love it.
Handle
What,
it so well.
Keisha, what would you add?
How do you go home at night? Are you calm and relaxed?
Yeah, I would say that it's so exciting to work with a team that loves children and to be around children that love being at school and coming to school every day.
Right.
So I'm finding that I go home actually pretty relaxed and excited to see what tomorrow brings.
Wow. In this year, especially this year, I work around a lot of moms who have kids in school, and they're all nervous wrecks. They're not good homeschool teachers, right? Their entire schedule has been upended. The kids are in school for, I guess, 2 days and then 3 days virtual. But there's been an appreciation for teachers in 2020. If that's a positive byproduct of this pandemic, that's a good thing. But in your school, the teachers are asked to be almost more creative and more willing to stretch the boundaries, huh?
And Katie came up with a really innovative
Taylor.
solution.
Good morning, by the way.
Sorry, good morning.
No,
It's good to see
you can just
I
talk.
jump in.
Just jump on in.
I was going to say real fast, along with the COVID lines, is Katie came up with an incredibly innovative solution to the problem where our students are there every day. So Monday through Friday, we have students in the building. They're either in a morning or an afternoon segment. So we've taken all the times when the risk of exposure is higher, such as snack time and recess time and all those in between
Lunch.
time. We do have snacks, sorry. We've taken those out of the equation, so our kids do get the time to be there and educate. And as a parent, it is so nice to take my kids there on a regular basis and not have.
So, and you have 3 sons,
I do.
and 2 of them are in the school.
2 are there, yes, right now.
Okay.
And the third is home with me all the time.
So, what you remember growing up in a traditional school, how are your sons' experiences in school different from yours?
100% different.
How?
You know, I was a good student, so I actually was very good at sitting still in a classroom. My children are not.
You and I would not have gotten along.
No, probably not.
I was a poster child for Ritalin.
And I mean, I think boys are more like that too. My boys do not want to sit still. They won't sit still in my home for me to tell them something. But then when you take them to school and there's an engaging lesson and they know that if they get through that lesson, there's something else waiting for them, they want to do it. And they're so proud to get in the car at the end of the day and tell me the work that they did today. It is very different than traditional, but I think that they're seeing success in it.
We tell our children that hard work gives you energy.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it. That is a really good way to put it. So you are feeling growing pains, and you are expanding, and the time now seems right where things are sort of all converging, and you guys are on a mission. You want to talk a little bit about it and how that got started and where you are today, and we're talking about the about acquiring the elementary school.
Yes. So we have put forward a purchase offer to the Moore County School Board to purchase the Southern Pines Elementary School campus on May Street for $1,080,000. The North Carolina legislature has created a pathway for public charter schools to purchase surplus public schools. And so the timing is perfect. We can move in, keep the school a school, and expand because we're bursting at the seams, and the demand is high.
But there's something else, the campus, because this is a school that really is a campus. You're also possibly partnering with the Sandhills Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
So we know that they're growing, and they're an incredible part of our school and what we offer to our students, which is, for the families to bring their kids to school and then have an after-school option. So it has always been a part of our plan, regardless of where we end up, that we would partner with the Boys and Girls Club to be in the same space that we are in. So when we originally toured that property, we brought the Boys and Girls Club with us. We said, we would like for you to be here. Is this something that you're interested in? And I think that they're busting at the seams at their locations. So I think it makes sense for them to expand.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to be in downtown Southern Pines. I think it's wonderful for the families for everything to be in the same area. And ideally we have in a dream world, we have it before school. We have a preschool, and then before school you can drop off early. The kids could have breakfast. I know that's dreaming big. We're not there yet. But make sure all the kids are fed, and it doesn't matter if you're coming from a low-income family or a medium or high-income family. If breakfast is there for everyone, it guarantees there's no stigma, and they are all going through the same process of the school education. And I think that property offers that potential of what we could be.
How do you take the temperature of the public in your quest to acquire the school? Because what you're also trying to do at the same time is you're trying to preserve something that is so charming and such an important part of Southern Pines.
The response from the public has been overwhelming, positive. We've got so many people who are emailing and calling and letting us know that they support what we're doing, and we appreciate that.
The local newspaper picked it up as well, and I think that has helped our cause, that the pilot supported our potential purchase.
There was a great article written by Dr. Benjamin Green. Public Montessori School would preserve downtown gem. I first came here in 1979. I was 4 years out of college, and I remember the spirit and the character of the town hasn't changed where the school is. It's still the same between Massachusetts Avenue and New York Avenue. meanwhile, there have been so many areas of this particular southern Moore County where the nature of the landscaping has changed. What drew me here way back in the late 70s and early 80s is still what draws me here today. Weymouth, Connecticut Avenue. It's sort of like going back into a town of yesteryear where the school was always walking distance. I walked to school as an elementary kid, 5 blocks. We didn't know where we lived was important to our parents, but they wanted us to be close to our elementary school. And there's something about that that's almost Rockwellian. And you're smiling because you agree 100%. We don't want to lose that, and parents don't want to lose that for their kids. So we're not going to handicap it, but this is an ongoing negotiation, an ongoing quest.
Yes, it is. And we're hopeful that the school board will be positioned in December to keep moving it forward.
Okay. We're going to, let's come back in the second set and let's talk a little bit. I want to, Markeisha, I want to get you involved in the conversation. You're the assistant head of school.
That's right.
How long have you been a teacher?
A teacher. I taught it back in Memphis for a year as at one of the public schools, a regular traditional school.
Okay.
But I spent most of my career working at a mental health facility,
Okay.
and there I worked as the cottage supervisor with children that were
Oh, wow.
from 13 years to up to 18 years old. So my experience is mostly in the residential setting, with children who came to us with all kinds of illnesses. Some of them had a history of sexual abuse. Some of them were victims, and some of them were abusers, self-harmers, runaways. So that's where my area of expertise and passion really is with what we like to call key children at our school, children who they don't fit inside of that box.
So it sounds to me like your radar antennas are on steroids. We'll be back in a minute. This is All Things Moore County. We're speaking all about the Moore Montessori School in Southern Pines. This is All Things Moore County. We're back in the second set talking about the Moore Montessori School and their quest to make part of downtown Southern Pines their home. We talked a little bit in the first set with Catherine and Taylor about the background of Montessori, what a public Montessori school means to our parents moving here into Moore County. Keisha, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the environment at the school. I understand that the kids get a lot of latitude. The teachers also have provide a lot of creativity. I came from a very traditional elementary school where they cookie cuttered us, and not every child has the same spirit. You must see that all the time, and you've got to speak to that child's listening, right?
Absolutely.
Not so easy to do because you can't just put them all into one box together.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that I noticed when I originally came to Moore Montessori. We had a lot of things going for us. We had the strong Montessori method, strong Montessori implementation. We had a way to interact with children that had special needs or potentially had special needs, but we were still missing that disciplinary piece. And so that was what was really exciting to bring to the school, because I have a lot of expertise and a lot of experience with behavior. And so that was my opportunity to come in and really get to know the children, build relationships with the children, build relationships with staff, and show staff how to also build relationships with children, to build relationships with families, and the children that don't quite fit in the box that we want them to, the ones that have a hard time sitting down, the ones that wiggle, the ones that push your buttons. those were the children that I really built relationships with and showed teachers how to build relationships with them.
So how would you characterize the type of discipline? Because kids can, I mean, they'll take advantage of a situation. They'll test you out. They'll stretch the limits to see what they can get away with.
Well, our thing is here. We're not going to make you do anything. You're going to choose to do the right thing. And here's how I'm going to get you to do the right thing and to
Okay.
choose to do the right thing. So we start out with asking, what is it that you need? How can I help you? And that's kind of profound for a child to be able to tell you what it is that they need, and getting them to really understand what's happening inside of their body. And what does it mean when I'm feeling angry? How does my body start to feel when I'm feeling upset? Am I getting hot? Is my fist starting to clench? What's going on and what do I need? And just getting them to be able to really communicate that and feel that, and getting teachers to recognize what anger looks like in a child.
And is this done in front of all the students?
It's kind of organically. It
One-on-one?
just kind of happens.
Okay.
If a child is having a moment, the whole class doesn't stop and stare at that child and wait for the teacher to scold them. That's just not the way it happens. The teacher calmly comes over to the child and speaks to them quietly. And if it begins to escalate, most of the children know to just keep working.
When I was in first grade or kindergarten, I got up from my seat. True story. And I went up and I kissed a girl who was sitting. This is true story. She started to cry. I just wanted to kiss her on the cheek. I mean, teacher made me go to the back of the room, face the corner. I stood there for the whole time. All I could think about was, oh gosh, how much trouble am I going to get into when I go home? Got into a lot of trouble. I grew up in that punitive environment where we were singled out and everybody got to witness it. And then, of course, the kids wouldn't talk to you. Very traditional education. I didn't forget it. Her name was Linda. I swear her name was Linda. And I thought that, because I saw it on TV, how a guy kissed a girl in first grade, I could do that. Boy, she didn't like
She didn't
it.
like it.
No, I got off to a slow start.
And so that's what we call teachable moment.
What do you call a coachable moment?
That's a coachable or teachable moment.
What would you have? How would you have handled that?
We like to look at the person who has caused the harm and the person that has been harmed.
Okay.
So that's an opportunity for both of you to have had a conversation.
Her name was Linda Cooper.
Linda. So should we go back? Should we go back in time?
I don't know. I need you to walk me through this.
Okay. All right. So I would probably start with Linda. And I
Okay.
would say, Linda, I noticed that you're crying. But before we have this conversation, let's all take a belly breath. Do you know what it is to take a belly breath? Take your hand and put it on your belly. Come on, do this with me.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm doing it.
All right. Now I want you to breathe in. And you're going to feel your belly, your hand move.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to breathe out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see that hand moving again. Oh, there you go. All right. Are we done belly breathing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm calmer
Linda,
now.
tell me what happened. Taylor, can you be Linda?
So funny.
Bill left his seat and he walked up to me and kissed me on the cheek, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I thought she was pretty.
It's not your turn.
Oh, okay.
And how did that make you feel?
It surprised me, and then I felt like he was in my space, and so I got scared and I started to cry. Does that work? I'm guessing here. This has never happened to me. Okay.
What do you need?
What do I need?
Yeah, what do you need moving forward?
I think I just need my personal space back.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm not mad at him. I just felt a little bit scared and it surprised me.
Okay, we're going to talk to him now and see how he's feeling about the situation. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what happened? What was your part in what happened?
Mm-hmm. I liked her, and I wanted to show her that I liked her, and I saw something on TV that gave me the courage to do it. And I just had to get up and do it right in the middle of the class.
How do you think that made her feel?
She cried.
So what does that say when someone cries?
Must have upset her. But
Can you understand how maybe she might have felt scared or embarrassed?
Yeah, but I didn't mean to do that. I was always defending myself as a kid. I didn't want that to happen. I got concerned.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
So, what do we need to do now? What can you do to make this better?
Not do it again.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Don't tell my parents. That's
I
the
can't
truth.
guarantee
That's
that's going to happen.
That's what I would have said. Don't tell my parents. I'd be in more trouble.
I hear you.
My intentions weren't bad.
I hear you. I
Okay.
hear you. But I'm going to have to talk to your parents, and you and I can talk to them together.
Okay.
We can talk about how we talked to Linda.
Okay.
We've got it all solved. There's no reason for any further action to be taken. We took care of it at school.
So what she's
Can we do
trying
that
to do
together?
is diffuse a situation in real time. Right?
Yep, it's conflict resolution, and it's building skills in children to realize their feelings and how sometimes their actions and their intentions don't work out as they thought.
Right.
And so you did not intend to upset Linda,
Right.
but that's the reality of the situation. So making that connection as a young child instead of just immediately going to a punishment.
And so what we would probably do is the following week, or I usually have social emotional groups where I go in. Last year, I would go in twice a week for 30 minutes or almost an hour. And we would work on a skill that the kids needed to just work on. So I would notice that personal space is an issue for you. So we would focus on personal space the next time we did our social emotional activities.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would talk about personal space bubbles and how everyone has a different size personal space bubble. And then we would probably read a book, and then the next time we would spend that time just doing activities that focus around personal space.
What she's done is you haven't gotten in trouble.
Right.
And she hasn't made you feel guilty or bad. But the next time you have a thought to do something similar, you now have a resource that you can come back to and
Right.
consider your options. Is this something I should act on, or is this something I should think about? I mean, she's creating a toolbox that kids can take into the rest of their lives.
One of the things, seriously, I think I learned in elementary school was it was better for me to hide out and to try to be invisible in the class, so that if the teacher was walking around through the tables, I would look down, and if I didn't see her, she couldn't see me, like a kangaroo. And I always tried to hide out and not be called on. Perhaps in that sort of situation, I wouldn't have felt the same way. I don't know.
Right.
Right? Because hiding out is something that some kids try to do, right? They're not socially adept, and they're maybe not as much as some of their peers. And you pick that up.
And that's actually something that we really focus on. We are really intentional with the lessons that we give, with the social emotional lessons that we give. And so if we notice, that's like my job is to notice if a child is trying to stay under the radar, then I like
That's it.
that for me is like actually a red light over the child if they're trying to fly under the radar. So yeah, we're gonna bring you in, and we're gonna figure out how we can make you feel a part of this community.
Okay.
So if that's helping you make a friend, helping you know how to have a conversation, how to raise your hand to speak, or any type of skill that they're lagging, we kind of just zone in on that and help them.
So
Bring that out.
So in truth, students are learning from reading and writing, but they're also learning from this type of socialization that is going on, that it does get in your face a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Catherine?
So we believe that children do well if they can, and we do not believe that there are bad children. And we believe that when a child is kind of getting on Miss Keisha's radar, that they have a lagging skill. And so then we give them the skill that they're lagging. We don't think about it in terms of what's wrong with this child. It's what skills does this child need?
Okay. I remember there were conversations my mother used to say, we have to send Bill to the school nurse or the school psychologist. And my father would say, you don't have to send him anywhere. Just let him go outside and play. Mm-hmm. There was that cultural between husband and wife too. What's wrong with the kids? Because my sister was a straight A student. She was perfect, and I was like the bad apple. But it's funny what kids remember all of those things, you know, in second grade, third. I remember my third grade teacher like yesterday. And we're talking about decades ago. So the impressions the kids get are indelible.
It's a critical time in
Oh, yeah.
the development of their life and their
Yeah.
development of who they are and how they interact with the world. And so we are kind and loving to everyone at our school. There is no exception to that.
Keisha, I'm enrolling. I'm coming. I need to come back and reset myself.
I keep trying to. They won't let me in.
It matters, though. It really does matter. These children, and that's what we, express to our teachers all the time. Like, these children are looking at you to know how to be. And so it is so important that every interaction that you have with them, you're treating them and their families with the utmost respect always. And that's something that we take really seriously at our school.
Well, very well said. We're going to come back in the third set and continue our conversation with more Montessori and what the future hopefully holds. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our final set. We have a lot to talk about and not as much time as we'd love to have. I want to go back to you for 1 minute. We talked a little bit in the last set about discipline and how you get through things with people. And I made a joke that I could be the before and your students could be the after. But you have an anecdote you want to talk about?
I do. I'm thinking we have now been implementing this system for a year. And I'm thinking back to a particular child that when I met him, he was very resistant to me and to changing in any type of way. And he was would do everything that he possibly could to get himself out of the classroom often. And when I finally figured out that was his plan, that was what he was working towards, was getting out of the classroom, we started to work to get him to stay in the classroom. So anytime he had a moment, we had that moment in the classroom. No matter how big that moment got, we let it stay in the classroom.
How old was he?
He was 6 at the time. He was 6 at the time.
Okay.
And so by the end of the year, he was able to not only communicate how he was feeling, he was able to ask for breaks when he needed one and felt himself getting overwhelmed. He was able to use language to express himself and express himself to others, to communicate with others, to have conversations with others. And then he was able to complete a full 3-hour work cycle, which was unbelievable and unheard of for that child.
You know, you drive home a point. Success in this school environment is not just about grades. It's about the little moments that are big aha moments that maybe go unseen, but they make a difference in the way the kids perceive things and how they react, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's what gives you the goosebumps,
It does.
right?
Absolutely.
You got to share that with
That's
people.
why I get paid the big bucks.
That's why we're excited to come to school every day.
That too.
But those victories they're very meaningful, even though they're small. But and you see them. You go,
It is, because it shows that what we're doing matters and it works.
Yeah.
We just have to stick to the system
Yeah.
and be consistent with children and be able to see the person that we want them to be and the person that we know that they can become,
Yeah.
even in those moments when times are rough.
Yeah. Very well said. Taylor, we get so many questions in our business from parents who are always asking about schools. And they're moving here because of their kids and they work remotely, so it all works out. We try to encourage our brokers to direct people to the different agencies, the different schools. But what would you like to say if you had 100 parents in the room and they were here with their brokers? What do they need to know?
Well, I think we have a unique model that we are a charter school and that we are open through a lottery every year.
Yep.
Our incoming families add their name to the lottery and are chosen, and then you have a free education. And it's something that a lot of the affluent families get it when you say Montessori school. Their eyes light up and they say, that's the education I know that I want for my kids. And then I think the fact that we have a free Montessori school is something that you really are not going to find in a small town like ours.
Right.
Baxter came from New York, and I was in St. Louis, and I never thought I would have survived in a town this small.
Right.
But we don't feel that small. And
Right.
I think all the brokers know that, and they can advertise that we have fabulous arts and fabulous community and downtown shopping. If you can offer this kind of an education to really anyone in Moore County, I think that the families would see it's a really value added to this community.
Yeah. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, because we're in an election year, I've noticed some of the school board candidates doing a very, very effective job of educating the public. And I've noticed some not doing such a great job. But I've noticed the value of social media in bringing together information, for instance, about Montessori. There's a way to PR the information in a way that social media, where people are remote now, they're spending more time online. You guys have a lot to be proud of and to talk about. I've just found some of the testimonials that I've seen very effective through osmosis. People get that. And I've noticed in one particular case, well-known people in the community, you know what I'm talking about. I could see you guys doing that, and it would be a very effective way to enroll people. Social media is not very expensive.
No, and we do have, Keisha runs our social media for us. She does a beautiful job. We have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Is it called a Q rating? You might know. It's
what?
The rating of every year we ask families, would you recommend our school to a friend?
Okay.
I think it's a Q rating, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
97% of our families say they would recommend our school to a friend.
Okay. Just to get the word out, because what you are all talking about is transformative. And in a small town like this is, it's of such a huge plus. And I'm wondering sometimes how many people are fully aware.
Not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But you guys coming on and coming back make people more aware. And parents need to understand it's a public Montessori school versus a private Montessori school.
Something that you said last week, or that either Dante or Mariah said last week, is that the proficiency for these students, it does directly correlate with a family's income.
Yeah.
So we're not just battling that with a game plan at our school, but with a proven method, which is, the Montessori method has been proven in studies to equalize that, so that kids, no matter what their background is coming from, they're going to be on the same playing field by the time they reach, was it third grade? There was an age in that study, but
That's great.
yeah, I mean, we have the ability to do it, and Keisha is providing this social, emotional skills that especially kids who were not in a preschool, they're coming to socialize for the first time, and they're learning those things they're going to be using in college and after.
Yeah. You hate to see kids get in the starting gates and one child is starting behind everyone else. They start the race behind and they never catch up.
Yeah.
Well said. Moving forward, there's a lot on the Moore Montessori plate between the building, plans going forward. Take us from where you are today and what you hope the next 4 or 5 months look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Catherine?
We are cautiously optimistic that we can make progress with the school board, and we really hope to be able to purchase the school at appraised value, and we would move into the upper part of the campus. We're kind of aware of the first renovations that we would do, addressing the single pane windows, energy efficient upgrades, dealing with some leaks on the slate roof, addressing all of those issues. And we would love to have our children in the campus by fall 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline between now and when you know if you're going to be able to acquire the building?
No, we don't. We
You
don't
don't?
have a full timeline at this time.
Okay. So you're still rallying support in the public?
Yes, absolutely.
If people want to find out more about the school and more about what the future might hold, who would they call? How would they get in touch?
They are welcome to call the school.
Okay.
The line at the school is 910-636-1325. We also have lots of information on our webpage. And that webpage is moremontessori.org. I'll spell that. It's MOOREMONTESSORI.org. And on that website, there's a link to a page that says learn more about our new school project. And there's several actions that community members can take. If you only have 1 minute, you can get on and sign the petition to build community support for us purchasing the property. If you have 5 minutes, there's a link to email school board members and share your support of our efforts. And if you have 30 minutes, there's information to share about writing a letter to the editor.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about the lottery?
Yes. So for families who have young children, school-age children, so rising kindergarten through next year it'll be 5th grade,
Right.
that are interested, we have 3 virtual open house sessions coming up. The first one is November 21st at 7 p.m. The second one is Thursday, December 10th, also at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And our final open house for the next school year is January 14th at 7 p.m. So there is a link on the events section of our website, and families can register and select the virtual open house they would like to attend.
Okay.
Once they have registered, we will send a Zoom link for the virtual meeting.
Everything that they need to find, they can find on the website?
Yes.
All the information?
Yes.
Keisha, you and I have to go on the road together. We can do a dog and pony show.
Okay.
You can be the boss, and I'll be the kid that you can restructure and reset. You laugh, but I'll tell you, my sister, she learned about how to behave by just watching me as a child. She was a year younger than me, and all she did was observe. She said, I'm not going to do what Bill did. I'm not, and that's how she grew up. She was perfect. But I have had friends of mine who have told me they have kids, boys in particular, and they've been referred to as aliens. In other words, boys are different from girls, and parents struggle sometimes with their children, the same family, 2 different spirits. And I remember that I watch people now with their kids, and I think the kids are great. Parents are like hard on them. And I always say, just admire their spirit. Let them live into their spirit. And it's hard for a parent to do sometimes. But I see it, and I remember as a kid what it was like. And now I can sit back and I see kids that are hyper or this, but they're great kids. Their spirit is just different from everyone else's. It's easy when you're a Dutch uncle, right? Not as easy as a mom or a dad, right? Any closing thoughts?
I was going to
Taylor.
say, Bill, you mentioned if we could speak to some of the brokers in town.
Yeah.
The Zoom call that Katie's going to do is such an informative session about what Montessori school is.
Oh.
If any of those people want to join that Zoom call, it would be a great opportunity for them to sell the community because of the school to incoming families. I mean, I have friends from LA who want to move here for this school.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes, they will quit their jobs and move here.
So tell me about the Zoom meeting.
The Zoom meetings are information sessions for incoming families, anyone who thinks the school could be potentially for their child. But since it's on Zoom this year, it really is open to the public.
And
Yep.
are there links as to when
They should register for one of the 3
November
virtual open
21st?
houses.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then once they register, we'll send them the information to log in.
Yeah, the way people get information today has just changed so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 2020 has been a challenging year, but we're so happy that there are organizations that are pivoting and accommodating and maybe rediscovering themselves and how to get their word out. You guys are no exception. You have a lot of great potential in front of you. Maybe come back sometime in 2021 with some of the parents.
Yeah.
Or even the students. How would is it too much for a 3rd or 4th grader? I don't know.
I don't think so at all.
These kids today, they just grab the microphone and they think they're in a video game.
Yeah. You might have a hard time getting them to leave.
All right. I really appreciate you all coming in. Catherine, it was great to see you.
Thank you.
And Taylor Clement, And Keisha, it was a pleasure to meet you, and you've changed my. I'm going to go back now and have a different perspective than when I started the show. More Montessori is a gift to Southern Pines, and Southern Pines is a gift to Southern Moore County. With all the demographic shifts going on and our community growing the way it's growing and kids everywhere, Moore Montessori is a public school. It opens the doors for a lot of possibilities, and when you think about it, one of the number one reasons people move here are for our schools. We wish you all the very best. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week. Thank you.